I think this is a good platform for people to start to know more about tennis. It's normal that without us having had that much success, at this level, there's a lot of tension when things are tight and when things are, you have a moment where nobody's talking and you can just hear the ball. I think it's a different experience. So I'm happy that Pinoys are now able to be exposed to that in person.
Alex Eala just shocked the entire WTA world. $1 million deal with Levi's, the luxury denim giant, and nobody saw it coming. At just 19 years old, she's rewriting the rules of what it means to be a tennis star in Southeast Asia. But this isn't just about money. This is about a girl from Manila who was told she'd never make it, now standing at the center of a global stage. And the question everyone's asking, is this the beginning of something legendary? Or the pressure that could break? Alex Eala wasn't supposed to be here. Born in Manila, raised in a country where tennis is barely a footnote in the sports conversation, she grew up watching legends like Serena Williams and Maria Sharapova on a grainy television screen. While other kids her age were dreaming of becoming the next volleyball star or basketball phenom, Alex held a racket like it was her lifeline. Her parents saw something in her, a fire, a refusal to settle. But talent alone doesn't pay for flights to Europe. It doesn't cover coaching fees, tournament entries, or the endless grind of the junior circuit. Her family sacrificed everything. Her father worked double shifts. Her mother became her manager, her motivator, her anchor. They sold properties. They borrowed money. They bet everything on a dream that most people in the Philippines thought was impossible. Because let's be honest, when was the last time you heard of a Filipino tennis player breaking into the global elite? The country had produced basketball legends, boxing champions, but tennis? That was a Western sport, a rich kid's game. And Alex Eala was fighting to prove that it could be hers, too. At 12 years old, she left home. She moved to Spain to train at the Rafa Nadal Academy, one of the most prestigious tennis academies in the world. Imagine being a child, thousands of miles from your family, surrounded by kids who speak a different language, who come from wealth you've never seen. The homesickness was crushing. The pressure was relentless. But Alex didn't break. She trained harder. She studied the game like a scholar. She absorbed every lesson, every loss, every moment of doubt, and turned it into fuel. The junior circuit became her battlefield. She won the Australian Open girls doubles title in 2020. She climbed the rankings. Coaches started whispering her name. Scouts took notice. But here's the cruel truth about tennis. Junior success doesn't guarantee professional survival. The gap between being a promising junior and a legitimate WTA contender is massive. It's littered with the names of players who couldn't make the jump, players who burned out, players who ran out of money, players who simply weren't ready for the mental warfare of professional tennis. Alex knew this. She felt the weight of it every single day. Because back home in the Philippines, she wasn't just another player. She was a symbol. She was hope. She was the proof that Filipinos could compete on the world stage. And that kind of pressure, it can destroy you. But it can also forge you into something unbreakable. By the time she turned 18, Alex had tasted the WTA tour. She'd played qualifiers, fought through challenger events, earned her first main draw appearances. The results were inconsistent, but the potential was undeniable. She had the ground strokes. She had the fight. She had the kind of grit that you can't teach. And slowly, quietly, the tennis world started paying attention. There's a moment in every athlete's career where opportunity meets preparation. For Alex Eala, that moment came in the summer of 2024. She wasn't ranked in the top 100 yet. She hadn't won a WTA title, but she had something that numbers couldn't measure. She had a story. And in the modern era of sports marketing, stories sell. Her breakthrough wasn't a single match. It was a series of performances that caught fire on social media. A 3-set comeback in a challenger final where she saved 4 match points. A post-match interview where she spoke about her family's sacrifices with tears streaming down her face. A viral clip of her celebrating a win by wrapping herself in the Philippine flag, her voice cracking as she thanked her parents in Tagalog. The tennis purists saw a talented player. The world saw a warrior. Brands started circling. Small endorsements came first, local companies in the Philippines, regional sponsors looking to tap into her growing fan base. But Alex and her team were patient. They knew that signing with the wrong brand too early could lock her into a deal that undervalued her potential. They waited. They built her social media presence. They crafted a narrative that was authentic, emotional, and impossible to ignore. Then the offers got serious. Nike reached out. Adidas expressed interest. But the most surprising call came from Levi's. The iconic denim brand, known for its rebellious spirit and cultural relevance, was looking to expand its footprint in Asia. They weren't just searching for another tennis player to slap their logo on. They wanted someone who embodied resilience, authenticity, and the courage to defy expectations. They wanted Alex Eala. The negotiations were intense. Levi's wasn't offering a standard endorsement deal. They were proposing a multi-year partnership worth over $1 million, with Alex as the face of their new Built to Last campaign. The concept was simple but powerful, highlighting individuals who overcame adversity to achieve greatness. Alex would appear in global ad campaigns, fashion shoots, and digital content. She'd be featured alongside musicians, artists, and activists. This wasn't just a sponsorship. This was cultural positioning. But here's where it gets complicated. Alex was still fighting to establish herself on the WTA tour. Her ranking hovered around 120. She hadn't won a WTA main draw match in months. And yet, she was about to become one of the highest-paid endorsers in women's tennis outside the top 50. The optics were tricky. Was Levi's betting on her future? Or were they simply capitalizing on her marketability, knowing that her story would resonate regardless of her on-court results? Alex's team debated for weeks. Her coach warned her about the pressure. Her mother worried about the scrutiny. But January 15, 2025. The press release went live at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. Levi's official Instagram posted a cinematic video. Alex Eala walking through the streets of Manila in a custom denim jacket, her voiceover talking about dreams, sacrifice, and belonging. The caption read, "She's not just building a career, she's building a legacy. Welcome to the family, Alex Eala." Within hours, the post had over 2 million views. Major sports outlets picked up the story. ESPN ran a feature. The WTA tweeted their congratulations. Filipino fans erupted in celebration. Hashtags like Pinoy Pride and Eala Rising trended worldwide. For a brief, beautiful moment, it felt like a victory lap. But the internet is never that simple. By the afternoon, the backlash had begun. Tennis forums exploded with debate. Critics questioned why Levi's had chosen Eala over established stars like Coco Gauff, who had a Grand Slam title, or Ons Jabeur, who had reached multiple major finals. Comments flooded in. She hasn't even won a WTA match this year. This is just marketing hype. She's getting paid for her Instagram following, not her tennis. Some of the harshest criticism came from within the tennis community itself. Retired players and commentators openly questioned whether Eala was ready for this level of exposure. One former top 10 player tweeted, "Endorsements should be earned on the court, not in a boardroom." The subtext was clear. Alex didn't deserve this yet. But here's what the critics missed. Levi's wasn't gambling on Alex's current ranking. They were investing in her influence. In an era where athletes are brands, where social media reach matters as much as trophies, Alex Eala had something rare: authenticity. Her story resonated with millions of people who had never picked up a tennis racket. She represented the underdog, the outsider, the fighter who refused to quit. Levi's chief marketing officer defended the decision in an interview, saying, "We don't just sign champions, we sign change makers. Alex Eala is changing what it means to be a tennis player from Southeast Asia. That's worth betting on." The statement was bold. It was polarizing. And it worked. The controversy only amplified the campaign's reach. Alex herself stayed mostly silent during the initial storm. Her team released a brief statement thanking Levi's and promising to let her tennis do the talking. But privately, February 2025. Alex entered the Australian Open qualifying rounds, carrying more than just her tennis bag. She carried the expectations of an entire nation, the scrutiny of a skeptical tennis world, and the unspoken pressure of a brand deal that had turned her into a lightning rod for controversy. Her first match was a disaster. She lost in straight sets to a player ranked outside the top 200. The errors were unforced, the body language defeated. After the match, she faced the media with red eyes and a forced smile. When asked about the Levi's deal, she said, "I'm just trying to focus on my game. The rest is noise." But the noise was deafening. Social media erupted again. The critics who had questioned the deal now felt vindicated. "Told you she wasn't ready. All hype, no substance. Levi should ask for a refund." The comments were cruel, relentless, and deeply personal. Filipino fans rushed to her defense, but even they were beginning to worry. Was the deal too much? Too soon? Had Alex bitten off more than she could chew? Behind the scenes, the pressure was crushing. Alex stopped sleeping properly. She replayed every mistake in her head. Her coach tried to shield her from the media frenzy, but it was impossible. Every interview question circled back to the same topic. Was she living up to the hype? The joy she once felt on court began to fade, replaced by anxiety and self-doubt. Levi's, to their credit, stood by her. They released a follow-up campaign video showing Alex training in the early morning hours, sweat dripping, determination etched on her face. The tagline, "Legends aren't built in a day." It was a message of patience, of faith, of resilience. But even that sparked debate. Was the brand enabling her failures, or were they genuinely committed to the long game? What made it worse was the comparison game. Every time Coco Gauff won a match, the comments flooded in. "This is what a real star looks like." When Iga Swiatek dominated a tournament, the subtext was clear. She earned her endorsements. Alex became the punching bag for every frustration about modern sports marketing, about influencer culture, about the perceived decline of meritocracy in tennis. But here's the part that most people didn't see. Alex wasn't just fighting opponents on the court. She was fighting a mental battle that threatened to destroy her. The girl who once played with fearless abandon was now paralyzed by fear. Fear of failure, fear of embarrassment, fear of proving her critics right. Her ranking dropped, her confidence shattered, and for the first time since she was 12 years old, Alex Eala considered quitting. Her mother found her crying in a hotel room after a particularly brutal loss. Alex said something that would later define the next chapter of her story. "Maybe they're right. Maybe I don't deserve this." March 2025, Alex Eala walked onto the court in Miami for a WTA 125 event. No cameras, no hype, just her, a racket, and a choice. Crumble under pressure or rise above it? She won her first match in 3 sets. Then her second. By the semifinals, people were starting to pay attention again. Not because of Levi's, not because of the controversy, but because she was playing like the Alex Eala who'd won junior Grand Slams. Fearless, aggressive, unbreakable. She won the tournament, her first professional title. The celebration was quiet, almost private. No grand speeches, no social media storm, just a simple Instagram post, a photo of her holding the trophy with the caption, "For everyone who believed, and for everyone who didn't." The tennis community took notice. Respected analysts began reevaluating her. Martina Navratilova tweeted, "This is what resilience looks like, respect." Even some of her harshest critics softened their tone. But Alex didn't bask in the redemption narrative. She kept her head down and kept working. In her first post-victory interview, she was asked about the Levi's deal and the backlash. Her response was measured but powerful. "I've learned that people will always have opinions, but at the end of the day, I'm the one who has to live with my choices. I signed that deal because I believed in what it represented, not just for me, but for every athlete who comes from a place where they're told they don't belong. I'm not here to prove anyone wrong. I'm here to prove myself right." That quote went viral, not because it was defiant, but because it was honest. It was the kind of authenticity that brands like Levi's had bet on, and it reminded the world why she had been chosen in the first place. But the real shift happened behind the scenes. Alex started working with a sports psychologist who helped her separate her worth from her results. She rebuilt her relationship with the game, remembering why she fell in love with tennis in the first place. She stopped reading comments. She stopped trying to control the narrative. She just played. By the summer of 2025, Alex had broken into the top 100. She won another title. She pushed top 20 players to 3 sets. Her game evolved, more calculated, more mature, more dangerous. Levi's released a new campaign featuring her comeback story, and this time, the reception was overwhelmingly positive. The narrative had shifted. She was no longer the overhyped endorsement. She was the fighter who had earned her place. Philippine fans never wavered. They had believed in her even when she didn't believe in herself. And now, as she continued to climb, she became more than just a tennis player. She became a symbol of resilience, of faith, of the power of refusing to quit when the world tells you you're not. As of January 2026, Alex Eala is ranked 73 in the world. She's not a Grand Slam champion yet. She hasn't reached a major final, but she's done something arguably more important. She's changed the conversation. Before Alex, the idea of a Filipino tennis player securing the $1 million endorsement deal seemed impossible. Now, it's reality. And that reality has opened doors for an entire generation of Southeast Asian athletes. Young players from the Philippines, from Indonesia, from Thailand are now looking at Alex and thinking, maybe I can do this too. Tennis academies in Manila are overflowing with kids who want to be the next Eala. Parents who once dismissed tennis as an impractical dream are now investing in lessons, in travel, in belief. This is the ripple effect of representation. This is why her deal mattered beyond the numbers. But let's be honest, the pressure hasn't disappeared. Every tournament still carries the weight of expectation. Every sponsorship appearance still invites scrutiny. Alex is learning to navigate a world where she's both an athlete and a brand, where her value is measured not just in ranking points, but in cultural impact. It's a tightrope walk that very few athletes master. Some thrive under it, others burn out. The question now is, what kind of career will Alex Eala have? Will she become a Grand Slam contender, justifying every bit of the hype and more? Or will she settle into a respectable career as a top 50 player, remembered more for what she represented than what she won? And honestly, does it even matter? Because here's the truth that the critics still don't understand. Alex Eala already won, not on the scoreboard, but in the way she forced the tennis world to expand its definition of what a star looks like. She proved that you don't have to come from Europe or North America to deserve global recognition. She proved that marketability isn't just about Grand Slam titles, it's about connection, about story, about resilience. Levi's bet on her knowing full well that she might never win Wimbledon. They bet on her because her journey resonated with millions of people who have ever felt like an outsider. And in that sense, their gamble has already paid off. The Built to Last campaign became one of their most successful in Asia. Sales surged, brand sentiment soared. Alex became the face of a movement, not just a product. As for Alex herself, she's still writing her story. She's still fighting, still climbing, still proving that she belongs. A declaration that the rules of tennis are changing, that representation matters, and that sometimes the bravest thing you can do is bet on yourself when the world tells you you're not ready. Was it risky? Absolutely. Was it controversial? Without question. But was it worth it? Ask the thousands of young Filipino athletes who now believe they have a shot. Ask the brands who are now scouting talent in places they once ignored. Ask Alex herself, who turned the darkest moment of doubt into the fuel for her greatest comeback. This is the power of resilience. This is the beauty of refusing to quit.